G'day guys, welcome to my RXY's Vita video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about NRL Round 14 recap preview for 2020 guys. Let's get started. So starting off with this first match of that game, we see the Roosters going up against the Storm. Now, this game was certainly potential. The Roosters weren't really on top because they had a lot of injuries happening to their side, which means that Boyd Corner, Brett Morris, Josh Morris, I don't think he was injured, but I'm not too sure about that. But I know Boyd Corner but definitely was injured. Jared Hargreaves was injured. Mitchell Orbison, Lachlan Lamb, and yeah, certainly was. That was why the Roosters didn't really came out on top. They weren't performing across the park, and I just certainly think that the Roosters didn't really have that entertainment into that squad. I know they had good players, but they certainly didn't defend really well. But I'm just going to have to say, it was just shocking from the Roosters to obviously lose a game for this match. But it's definitely 24 points to 6 anyway, and I did go for the Roosters by 12 points. So let's have a look at the tries by the Roosters. So the only try that scored was this new guy from the Sydney Roosters, Christian Tui Pialotu. But let's have a look at the Storm tries. So what we have here is Jerome Hughes. Justin Olam scored 2 tries anyway. Well done from him. And Felice Kafusi. And my player of the game was definitely Jerome Hughes, number 7 from the Melbourne Storm. Definitely blew me away. He's just absolutely speed freaker. But what he does is focuses on the ball every time you need to kick or anything like that, like the 5th tackle or something like that. Every time you just kick it, you always focus your eye on the ball, and definitely he does that every single time. He always plays like that. He definitely always does that. But what a great game by the Storm that they won 24 points to 6 anyway. The next game of this match, we see the Warriors going up against Panthers. Now, another match that certainly didn't really play as well, but the Warriors aren't that good of a team, because they are struggling always, and every single time they play up against like Roosters, Panthers, Sharks and that, they always lose every single time. It's like the Broncos, it's like the Titans, and certainly it's like the Cowboys. But I'm just going to have to say, I'm going to have to add on to the low scoring of the teams that certainly haven't really won every single game. Like, it's like the Warriors, I just mentioned just then, Cowboys, Titans, and certainly the Broncos. They are my top lowest 4 teams in that comp that just certainly aren't playing enough football of entertainment in the comp anyway. But it was definitely 18 points to 12. Very low scoring in that match. Very close game also too. I think it was wet in that game because it was pouring down rain in that match. But I did go for the Panthers by 14 points, and they certainly won by 6 points. 18 points to 12. But let's have a look at the Warriors try. So what we have here is Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and Patrick Herbert. So let's have a look at the Panthers tries here. So what we have here is Brent Naden, Episode Coruscant, and Dylan Edwards. I think Brent Naden, every single time he plays a game, he's just a really great player that certainly can dominate any single player out there. And I just think he scores tries every single game he plays up against a different team. But my player of the game, what I just mentioned is just then, was certainly number 5 from Panthers that switched from the team, was definitely Brent Naden from the Panthers anyway. The next game of this match, we see the Eels going up against the Dragons. Now, this match, another game that certainly was disappointing from the Eels. I did go for the Eels by 18 points, and I only lost by 2, which was 14 points to 12. That scoreline, and they lost by 2 points. Absolutely shocking game of football by the Eels. I'm just going to have to say, though, I thought to myself that the Eels were going to win another game up against the Dragons. But then the Dragons had a revenge and made an upset in that game. Which that means that I thought to myself, it would have been really bad often if the Dragons were going to win that game. But it was really strange because I wasn't expecting a win by the Dragons. I thought the Eels were going to win this game. But they didn't. They lost by 2 points. So I'm just going to have to say, 14 points to 12. Shocking game of football. But let's have a look at the Eels tries. So what we have here is Clint Gutherson and Kane Evans. For the Dragons tries, so what we have here is Mikhaili Ravalawa that only scored 2 tries. He's just a speed freaker. He scores tries every single time, and I just think he'll have a wonderful career for the Dragons anyway. And my player of the game certainly went to number 1 for this match. Number 1 from the Parramatta Eels was Clint Gutherson. I just think he has a great game every single time he plays. I really do think he has a wonderful career, and I just think he is a wonderful player that just certainly knows what to do and controls the football very well. And I just think he has that potential of winning games and knowing for their players and that. I reckon that he will definitely be in control of the Eels anyway. The next game of that match, we see the Sharks going up against the Titans. Now, this game certainly blew me across the park. The Sharks are a really good team that certainly came out on top, absolutely firing up against the Titans. The first half in that match, the Titans were really good in that first half, but then in the second half for the Titans, they were shocking across the park, and they didn't really score any single tries at all, but they only scored 3. But it was definitely 30 points to 18 in that match, and I went for the Sharks by 8 points. But to the Titans, I just think they need to have some potential. They need to have a really good game of football every single time they play. I just don't think that they are a really top 8 team that just doesn't get across the line all the time. But they may win a couple of matches in their season. I just don't think that they are a top 8 team that can potential get across the line anyway. But anyway, let's have a look at the Sharks tries anyway. So what we have here is Josh Dugan, Sia Safa Talakai, Sione Katoa, Wade Graham, and Jack Williams. So what we have here for the Titans tries is Corey Thompson, Jared Wallace, and Keegan Hipgrave. And my player of the game definitely went to number 6 from the Sharks, or number 7 if I believe. Was definitely Sean Johnson. I just think he has a wonderful great game every single time he plays for the Sharks. He's just a wonderful player. He's getting to that stage. He's getting really better from the Sharks, because the Warriors, he was definitely really good but shocking across the park. But sometimes for when he plays against the Sharks, he does have a bit shocking games and then great games and then shocking games and great games. But I'm just going to have to say my player of the game definitely went to Sean Johnson, number 6 from the Sharks anyway. The next game of this match, we see the Cowboys going up against the Rabbitohs. Now, this game, oh my goodness, what a splendid game of football by the Cowboys. They were better than last week. And I'm just going to have to say, 31 points to 30 in the second half of that game was mind-blowing. Oh my god, I cannot believe that the Cowboys weren't playing a really great football, but 31 points to 30, they were playing really better in that first half and second half, but wasn't enough to get over the line anyway. But I did went for the Rabbitohs by 10 points, and they obviously won by 1 point of the field goal by Adam Reynolds anyway. But let's have a look at the Cowboys tries anyway. So what we have here is Connolly Leomalu, Michael Morgan scored 2 tries. Hamiso Tipawai Fidel, Mitchell Dunn, and Tom Opacek. For the Rabbitohs, what we have here is Adam Reynolds, Dane Gagai, Alex Johnson scored 2 tries, and Campbell Graham. But my player of the game went to number 2 from the Rabbitohs. I just think he had a wonderful game out there. I think that he's an eye for the lookout every single time he plays the games, because he's just mind-blowing across the park, and I just think he gets over the line every single time he gets the ball, and he's certainly dangerous with the ball anyway. But my player of the game, I just think, went to number 2 from the Rabbitohs is Alex Johnson from the Rabbitohs. I think that he is a wonderful player that stands out for the club, and I just think he really does a good effort for the club that gets over the line every single time he plays up against a different team anyway. The next game of this match, we see the Raiders going up against the Broncos. Now, another match that certainly was disappointing by the Broncos. They've lost every single time they played. I cannot believe that they aren't really focusing on what they're doing, like, in the NRL. I understand that they have lost really good players, but they can't just have new players out there and then they don't do anything in that match. But I'm just going to have to say, really shocking by the Broncos that haven't learnt anything from anyone out there. But it was definitely 36 points to 8 the scoreline, and I went for the Raiders by 16 points. But I'm just going to have to say, for the Broncos, really shocking across the park, and they need to step up if they want to win games of football. So, let's have a look at the Raiders tries anyway. So what we have here is Jordan Rapana, George Williams, Nick Kotrick that scored 2 tries, well done from him, John Bateman, and Chance Nickel-Klokstad. Let's have a look at the Broncos tries. So what we have here is Jesse Arthurs and Herbie Farnworth. And my player of the game went to number 7 from the Raiders, was definitely George Williams. I just think he has a great game every single time he plays, and I just think when he like oversteps and stuff like that, I just think he really stands out for the club. I do not think that he is terrible, but he's alright. I'm just going to have to say, when he first played for the Raiders, he wasn't that good, but then a couple of games, he was alright, and then he definitely stepped up for that club anyway. But I'm just going to have to say, 36 points to 8, embarrassing scoreline from the Broncos, and well done from the Raiders for definitely winning this game up against the Broncos anyway. The next game of this match, we see the Knights going up against the Manly Seagulls. Now, this game certainly was just mind-blowing by the Newcastle Knights that definitely played a really good game of football. But the first half of that match was coming to 2 tries by the Manly Seagulls. And then after that, Stafford Toa and Kurt Mann decides to get the 2 tries to make it up to that scoreline. But I definitely took the Knights by 20 points, and they only won by 2 points. But for the Manly Seagulls, I know they're losing a couple of players, such as Tom Travojevic. Curtis Sirenen has a split tongue. I just think it's just disgusting. Like, it was really off the topic. But I'm just going to have to say, by Manly Seagulls, I really do think that they are a really good football team. I understand that they are struggling because they're missing Dylan Walker, Tom Travojevic, and Curtis Sirenen, and other players too. But let's have a look at the Knights tries anyway. So what we have here is Stafford Toa, Kurt Mann, Anara Tuala scored 2 tries, and Heimel Hunt. Let's have a look at the Manly Seagulls. So what we have here is Cade Cust, Dylan Daly Cherry Evans, Jack Giuseppe, and Lachlan Croker. And my player of the game went to number 6 or 7 from the Newcastle Knights, Blake Green. I think that he has a wonderful game every single time he plays for the Newcastle Knights. He gets better, and I just think he has a wonderful game. But I'm going to have to say, he'll definitely have a wonderful career for the Newcastle Knights anyway. And last but certainly not least, we see the West Tigers going up against the Bulldogs. Now, this game by the Bulldogs, coming from this wooden spoon, the 16th place position, to a very close game, really outstanding by the Bulldogs, but they need to win a couple of games of football if they want to move up from ladder to ladder to ladder. And I don't think they will be in the finals because they are certainly in the 16th position. But it was definitely 29 points to 28, very close scoreline, and I just thought to myself that the West Tigers were going to beat the Bulldogs, and I was going to say, like, they were going to put an embarrassing scoreline to the Bulldogs anyway. But I did tip the West Tigers by 22 points. But one field goal that made a really good effort by the West Tigers. I'm just going to have to say, well done from you guys. That certainly have a wonderful game anyway. But let's have a look at the West Tigers tries anyways. What we have here is Moses Mbai, Luke Garner scored 2 tries, wonderful from him. David Norfoluma and Joseph Leilua. Let's have a look at the Bulldogs tries anyways. What we have here is Nick Meaney, Marcelo Montoya, Matt Dory had a wonderful game. Well done from you. That made your first grade debut from the Bulldogs. Congratulations from you. Aiden Tolman and Kieran Holland. And my player of the game certainly went to number 7 from the West Tigers, Benji Marshall. I think Benji Marshall was having a wonderful game out there. Really stand out across the park. He's a speed freak, and I just have to say, every time he gets the ball, he's certainly dangerous anyway. But well done from Luke Brooks, that definitely made that field goal to make it 29 points to 28 anyway. Thanks guys for watching my video, guys. Stay tuned for more. I will be doing a couple of videos coming to you guys soon. Also, I'll be doing more videos coming to you guys soon, so stay tuned for more. Plus, leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and for this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, take care guys, stay safe, and have a good one. Plus, let's get up to 200 subscribers. We're sitting on 168, halfway point anyway, so let's get up to that, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.